Shri Jagatambaye Namaha, Hari Shri Ganapatiye Namaha. So I have taken this initiative and I hope the Divine Mother backs me up in this journey to devote 5 to 10 minutes daily to meditate on her, to understand her glory, her Mahatmya. So to begin with, I have taken the text of Devi Mahatmyam. I am not knowledgeable enough to give a word-to-word interpretation or even give a sort of philosophical understanding or interpretation of the text. But let us try to connect and associate the story of her as presented in Devi Mahatmyam, and let us try to understand what she represents as a concept, what she is. Devi Mahatmya, as it is titled, it talks about the Mahatmyam of Devi, the glory of Divine Mother. Devi Mahatmyam is also called as Durga Saptashati. Now, Durga is a form of Devi, the goddess, and Saptashati means Sapta means 7 and Shati is 100, which means Durga Saptashati is a work that runs along for 700 shlokas. So Devi Mahatmyam is also called as Durga Saptashati, and as the title says, it is dedicated and it glorifies Goddess Durga. And another form that is worshipped, that is intensely worshipped in the text, is Chandiga Devi, the great goddess who killed the demons like Chanda, Munda, Shumbha, Nishumbha, and who was instrumental and who gave the motivation to Vishnu, to Lord Vishnu, to kill Madhu and Kaitava. Now the question would arise, why do we have to study a text like Devi Mahatmyam? Why do we have to chant this? Why do we have to understand or learn this text? The answer, as far as my understanding, is that Devi Mahatmyam talks about the journey that one faces, the struggles that one would face in one's life, and how can one overcome these frustrations or struggles, which may be internal or external in nature, with her grace, with her blessings. So Divine Mother in the text Devi Mahatmya is mainly invoked as a primordial form, and how she manifests herself as an inner energy within all of us. She's present within all of us, so we just have to channelize her. So this text shows that journey that we have to undertake to awaken her as she is lying latent inside us. And it talks about the challenges that we would face as we become the victims of inner conflicts, or as our peace gets destroyed when we get entangled in this bhavasagara or in this materialistic world, and how, as the compassionate mother, she would help us unconditionally and she would help us overcome this challenge. So this is the significance of Devi Mahatmyam. Now you would say, or you would think, that this is the purpose of any spiritual text that we have for that fact. So whether it is Upanishads or Vedanta or the Puranams, all of them talk about how we can achieve the absolute truth or the supreme consciousness, and how we can calm ourselves and merge, how this Jivatma can merge with the Paramatma. So this is the basic philosophy that all the texts, spiritual texts, generally deal with. But what makes Devi Mahatmya different is that as we talk about Devi, and even if we take Devi Bhagavata Purana as such, it says that it helps in the fulfillment of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. All the purusharthas get fulfilled with her blessings. But when we talk about Srimad Bhagavata Puranam or other texts, the concept of moksha is something that is being stressed. But when it comes to the Devi Bhagavata Purana or Devi Mahatmya, it says how we can be in touch with her, how we can be spiritual even amidst this materialistic world, enjoying the pleasures of the world, of course, with a little bit of detachment, as well as how we can attain her amidst all these distractions. So that is a speciality of all the Shaktic texts, and Devi Mahatmyam is not much different from that aspect. So Devi Mahatmyam talks about the three forms of Devi: Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati. So there are three charitrams or three major chapters within which we have subsections, which are the Prathama Charitram, the Madhyama Charitram, and the Uttara Charitram. So it shows the varied forms of the Divine Mother, ranging from the Raudra Rupa to the Saumya Rupa. And it also talks about the journey of a human being from the Tamo Guna, going on to the Rajo Guna and then to the Sattva Guna. It also shows how she is the world, she is the Prakriti, she is the Maya, she is the energy behind Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So she is the one that makes them mobile, which is what even Shankaracharya says in the first sloka of Saundarya Lahari, where he says that Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakhalu Kushala Spandidamapi Atastvam Aradhyam Harihara Virinchati Bhirapi Pranantum Stotum Va Kadamakrita Punya Prabhavati. So where he says that only if Shakti is there, Shiva can make the movement. So without her energy, all the gods would remain inert. The Trinity won't be able to perform the process of creation, sustenance, and destruction. So she is that kinetic or the mobile energy, and she is within us, within all of us. The purpose of our life is to awaken her, associate with her, and understand her, and finally surrender ourselves to her golden and glorious feet. And Devi Mahatmyam is such an esoteric text. It talks about various rahasyams or secrets, and every line and word of this text is filled with deep meanings. Maybe this janma may not be enough to understand this particular text, but we'll just look at the narratives and the story of how she vanquishes all the devils in the form of Chanda, Munda, Shumbha, Nishumbha, Raktabija, Dhumralochana, and others, and how she is also capable of vanquishing the evil forces within us, our ego, ahankara, jealousy, greediness, and so on, our ignorance, and so on. So, this text begins with the Kavacha Stotram, then we have the Argala Stotram, and then the Kilaka Stotram, and then we begin the three major chapters. So in the first chapter, there is she kills Madhu, or she becomes the motivation or the cause for Vishnu to kill Madhu and Kaidaba, and then we see how she manifests as Durga, and she is instrumental in killing Shumbha, Nishumbha, Chanda, and Munda. So in the first part, we see her as the Yoga Maya, or how she is in the form of Yoga Nidra. And then we see her as the inner energy. So when we talk about Nidra or the inner energy, we see that the concept of Devi or the energy of Devi is something that surrounds us, right from the food we take, the money we spend. Everything has the concept of Devi. We worship her as Annapurna. We worship her as Mahalakshmi. We worship her as Mahasaraswati for the Vidya. Right? So she is that internal force that gives the energy for the body to sustain. So from tomorrow onwards, let's begin to think and meditate upon her glory, and let us make use of this Janma to go nearer to her through these texts, and let us be blessed by her grace. Shri Jagadambaye Namaha.